Welcome to a new episode in this podcast, a place for people who lives their passion. I'm Malin, and today I welcome the photographer Lammdogg Lammerman, who's been a photographer for United Airlines for many years. So I say hi, Joe, and welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Malin. Good morning.
Good morning, good morning.
I don't know when listeners will be listening, so.
Tell us a little bit about where you were born and raised and where your interest for photography started.
I was born in Colorado in the USA. Lived there till I was 14, and that was in the 80s. And my parents, there was a massive oil crash, and we had to leave Colorado and move to California to find. My parents needed to find work.
Yeah.
So I consider, although Colorado is my home, I consider California my heart's home, because I kind of, from the age of 14 until 23, I grew up there and learned about life in California. So I feel like I'm a California boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moved back to Colorado when I was 23. Got hired at United Airlines.
Yeah.
They were just opening a new airport, and this was 1995. Worked in Denver for United Airlines as a baggage handler until 2008. And then we had that housing market crash that really screwed things up around the world. I ended up having to transfer to Chicago from Colorado, which was very, very scary. I'd always heard bad things about Chicago, and to my surprise, it turned out to be one of the most amazing places I've ever lived. And it also changed my career photographically for the
Oh, wow.
company.
That was good you were moving.
At the time, I was terrified and didn't want to go, so I had no idea what would happen when I got there.
Well, it turned out well.
Mm-hmm.
When did the photography shift from a hobby into a passion and eventually a career?
Well, I got my first in 2005. I bought my first little point and shoot camera, but I'd always been not interested in the technical aspects of photography. But when we would have like family parties, my mom always gave me the camera because she said she would always say, "You take the nicest pictures." So even when I was apparently a little boy taking pictures at parties, I was the one that my mom would come to with the camera. So
Yeah, probably you had an eye for
20,
it. Really.
yeah,
Yeah, in a young,
apparently.
yeah, apparently. Here we are.
Yeah. So here we are.
Here we are.
I at the in about well between 2000 and 2005, digital photography came about. They had just started releasing digital cameras, and I bought and it was super expensive for this little camera. It was about $500, and this was 2005, so $500, which was, well, roughly comparable 5,000 Swedish crowns. So it was not inexpensive, but it was amazing. I Because you could take pictures and actually see instantaneously what you were taking. So I played a lot with this camera. And in 2006, in January of 2006, my little brother Josh ended his life.
I'm so sorry to hear.
Yeah, me too. But I think that moment in my life is what shaped me into who I am today, artistically as well as the man that I am today. So I had this little point and shoot camera, and by October of 2006, I was not doing well. So I decided I needed to do something. I had to go. I cleared out my savings account from my bank, I took 2 months off of work and I came to Europe. I bought a Eurail pass where you can travel on the railroad. You can travel on the trains for as much as you wanted in any set amount of time in this set amount of time. And I took my little camera with me. I took my little journal with me, and this is where my photographic journey really started. My first stop was in Germany. I had a very dear friend who lived in Oldenburg, and I stayed there for this was a very dear friend. And this was actually an ex-girlfriend of mine who moved to Germany. So, but I generally always stay friends with my exes. So I stayed good friends with this woman, and she told me, come and come to my place, and I will help you feel better, which was wonderful. So I had a starting off point. I was there for 4 days, played in her garden with my camera, with my little camera, played with lighting, taking pictures of stationary objects, taking pictures of our shenanigans and whatnot. And I learned there actually that I could do these long shutter speed things. So as long as my camera was stationary, I could extend the shutter speed, which basically gives you this ability of movement and brings in more light to the camera. It's when you see pictures of automobiles that look like they're zooming by.
Mm.
That's what the long shutter speed.
Yeah.
So I jumped. I was there for 4 days. Jumped on the train from Oldenburg and took it down through Germany to Paris. And in Paris, I was there for 3 or 4 days, and that was where I was taking pictures of architecture. I was doing street photography, which to me at the time I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know any photographic labels. I didn't know that I was doing architecture photography. I didn't know that I was doing street photography. I didn't know that I was doing long exposure photography. I didn't know any of these terms at the time. I was just playing, and there was something intuitive about it. If I back up a little bit, my entire life I was always a draw. I would always draw. I would always do these little drawings and stuff like that. So for me, this was something, and that was the frustrating thing with drawing is I thought I was a good little drawer, little artist, but I couldn't always put down on paper what I had in my mind.
Yeah.
With the camera, I could,
Mm.
and I think that's why I took to it so well. Is I could play with it and get these amazing images. So yeah, I think that's why I really stuck with photography. In Paris is just an amazing place to begin with. Paris is just an amazing place to begin with. So I played a lot with my camera, taking pictures at night, long exposure pictures. I realized that I could put my camera on a timer, and so I would set the camera down, set the timer, and then run in front and take these amazing pictures of me with with the Eiffel Tower behind me. I can give you examples of these photos later. From Paris, I went down into Marseille and Nice. And what I didn't realize at the time, because I hadn't really talked with my mom or my sister, but they had booked a cruise at the exact same time that I was going down the coast of France. They had booked a cruise from Spain down into Italy. So we were almost following the exact same path. They were on a ship. I was on a train. We ended up meeting I believe it was, I believe it was Naples, the first port. So it was really amazing how this all came together.
Yeah, what a
They,
beautiful
because
journey of healing
yeah,
for all of you. You with
absolutely.
your photography and your
And
family,
my,
like you meet up and
and they were grieving, and they needed to do something, and I was grieving, and we all had the same thought. We just didn't we hadn't we hadn't talked to each other about this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm doing. I don't think I told anybody that I was going to Europe except for my ex who lived in Germany. So for this to all come together the way that it did was completely incredible. So I got pictures of my sister and my mom and my aunt enjoying their time in Italy, but I was also Italy was amazing photographically because I'm taking pictures of these ancient things, and I'm also doing a lot of street photography. in Naples and Florence and Rome, and yeah. So there was a profound shift in something inside of me. I realized, even though I was grieving the death of my brother, and I was also grieving the loss of a relationship. I had just broken up with somebody who I was very in love with. So I needed this. I needed this experience, and I didn't realize at the time how profound this taking pictures with this little camera was going to affect the rest of my life and this healing journey.
Yeah, and I believe also when you are like with a camera, it becomes, well, that's my experience when I've been on my healing journeys, that when you are with a camera, it's like time stands still for a while. It's just you and the object, and
Yes.
there's a healing process also in that.
Yeah.
It's like you
Yeah.
shut out the world and
You completely shut out the world. I shut out because I would focus on what I was doing, and I would shut out, thoughts of my brother's death or missing people, and I would just focus on the beauty around me and on capturing that. And yeah, there is something for me, there's something very, very, I have lack of a better word, very healing in that. So I said goodbye to them in Rome, took the train up to, why can I never think of the city? Venice, dear Lord. I had a 4 hour stay, 4 hour layover on the train in Venice. I was going up to Austria. But this 4 hours in Venice that I had with this little camera got some of the best pictures of the entire trip. Venice is an absolutely amazing place, and I wish I would have stayed there a little bit longer, but yeah, that was wonderful. And then I got into Austria. Austria was okay. I didn't use my camera so much in Austria. I ended up every place that I had stayed. I had no plans. I had stayed in hostels in every place, and I would stay in a hostel for a couple of days. Most of the hostels had computers. I would check the next destination that I wanted to go to and book a hostel the next day. So I ended up booking this hostel in Austria, and I ended up just kind of getting to know the people there. So photographically, I didn't do anything there. From Austria, I went back to Germany and went home. And when I got home, I put together a slideshow of all the pictures I had taken in my European journey. And there was something also very healing in that process, because I was going through all the pictures and seeing what I had just experienced. And I put this together so I could show my family. And when I showed my family the slideshow, they were all completely blown away by the pictures I had taken. And at the time, I had thought, well, this is just my family being nice, because they were telling me, oh my, these pictures are so beautiful. They don't look like tourist pictures. You look like you could be taking pictures for National Geographic. I'm, okay, whatever. I didn't believe them. I knew the pictures were good, but I didn't really think anything more on that. But I'm like, okay, well, if I took pictures this well in Europe, maybe I can continue taking pictures of the life around me in the United States. And so I would take my little picture, I would take my little camera to work. I was a baggage handler for United Airlines. So I was working around aircraft. So I would take my camera to work sometimes, but there really wasn't any place where I could, because this was at the time, this was between 2006 and 2010. There wasn't anywhere where I could post all these pictures. So I was just taking these pictures for myself. They had MySpace. Facebook was in its infancy. Instagram didn't exist. There were, I'm trying to think, was there Flickr, or there was no really outlet. I was taking all these pictures but not being able to really showcase them anywhere. 2008, fast forward to 2008, I transferred to Chicago, and this is where the journey really, really started to kick in photographically. 2010, 2000, between 2010, 2012, I was really getting to know the people that I worked with in Chicago, and I think this was around 2011, 2012, when the advent of Instagram came, and also of smartphones, and the amazing things that you can do with smartphones. I bought a Samsung. It was the first one. It was the Samsung Galaxy One, I think, and the camera on that was pretty cool. So I started taking pictures. I left my little point and shoot camera at home. I started taking pictures with my cell phone.
Yeah.
And which was perfect because then you could upload straight from your cell phone to this new platform called Instagram. Instagram was a game changer at the time.
Yeah, what
I don't
did
know.
Instagram mean for you, like for your creative expression when you
Because then
finally
I
joined it?
yeah, I could actually put these pictures out to the public. And they had the Instagram had these crappy little filters. I think there was 11 or 12 different little filters that you could edit your pictures with. And I wasn't really much into editing my photos, with Photoshop and Lightroom. I don't even think existed at the time. So I was using Instagram filters for my pictures. And when I go back, I kind of cringe at the photos that I was posting. I was taking pictures at work of the airplanes, of sunrises and sunsets and stuff like that.
But that's also, I believe, the beauty of in ourselves where we see we evolved and we can go back and we see, oh, now I come this far. There's a constant
Definitely,
change. And there's a beauty
yeah.
in that. That's also a creative, we create ourselves.
Mhm. Absolutely. And you
Yeah,
watch your growth. You can watch your growth
exactly.
physically in your
Exactly.
art.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
But
but I
when and how did you start to see your working place like a scene for photography?
Okay, so as an artist, I always look for the beauty behind anything, and to me, there is beauty behind everything. There's beauty in life. There's beauty, whether it's mechanical. I had this mechanical job, so I just wanted to. For me, it was really important to capture these behind the scenes pictures of what I was doing for a living. And I had a bird's eye view of working as an employee for the airlines. I had a bird's eye view to something that a lot of people didn't get to see, and I saw beauty in everything that I was working with these aircraft and with these wonderful people. And I just wanted to capture all of it. I don't know what that drive is inside of me that I need to capture the world around me. But this is where it really, really started, was in Chicago, I would say.
Yeah. And then something happened. Time magazine reached out to you. So what
Yeah,
went
they did.
through your mind when
Okay,
they contacted you?
this was incredible. This was okay. So, and this was in 2012, 2013. It was 2013. So by that point, I had stopped using these crappy filters on Instagram, and I had discovered a photo editing app called Snapseed. And Snapseed is really, really where I was able to express and edit my pictures to get exactly what I was looking for. I was taking all these behind the scenes winter pictures. I was a de-icer. We would de-ice the aircrafts during the winter operations. And so that I've always been kind of drawn to the darker, moodier kind of photos and stuff like that. And I could get some really, really cool, dark, moody photos of de-icing the aircraft, how I could represent winter with my camera as this kind of dark period. So I was taking these pictures of us in our winter operations, de-icing the aircraft, people working in the snow. But with Snapseed, I could make them kind of even darker and moodier, and there was an HD setting on there, which allowed me to. There was something in the setting that allowed it to even get darker and more kind of I don't know, kind of broody. And I was posting these on Instagram, and they reached out to me. Time Magazine was on Instagram, and they reached out to me and said, "Hey, we're doing a piece behind the scenes it was so weird how this all came about. I'm taking these pictures of behind the scenes winter operations at the airport. They were actually doing a piece on how it is for the airlines during the winter and how we do things winter operations wise. They really loved my pictures and wanted to present my photos of behind the scenes for United Airlines in Chicago. In Chicago, we have notoriously bad winter, super cold, super snowy. So it was like the perfect place. At the time, United Airlines was not doing so well. Their corporate structure, we were still kind of reeling from the 2008 market crash, and we had the CEO at the time didn't they basically told us that we could not take pictures at work and post them online. I
Okay.
was doing this. Yeah, I was doing this anyway. So I had to get permission from United Airlines to let Time Magazine use my pictures of the operation. And I think the thing about it is when I presented my photos to United that I was going to use, I think that they were good enough that United actually was like, oh, well, you see the beauty behind what we're doing,
Yeah.
even if we're even if as a company we don't really want to be out there on social media, and we're going to allow this. And it was super amazing.
Yeah. How did
But
being featured in Time magazine change the way
that changed
you,
everything.
yeah, how
No,
you saw
and
yourself as a photographer?
well, the thing is that okay, so I didn't realize how big of a thing it was that Time magazine, and I was working with the editor for the story, and she said something to me. She said, "This is like if you were an actor and you won an Academy Award, you will always be a Time magazine published photographer."
Mm.
Wow. Okay, that didn't really. I was like, oh, I didn't realize that this this is
This
that
is
big of a thing.
big.
But yes,
Yeah.
it's huge. It's huge.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about that is I think a lot of artists deal with this mentality where we feel like we're fake. We and I'm taking pictures with my cell phone,
Yeah, but you hear that
and
often
yeah,
from
but I
artists
didn't
also.
feel like
When will they discover that I'm fake? And I mean, you are
yes,
not. You're
yeah.
not.
I felt like I was a fraud
Yeah.
because they're calling me a photographer and I'm taking these pictures with my telephone. That didn't feel like I was a photographer. I'm taking pictures with my cell phone, and to me, the images that I was producing, I knew they were beautiful, but they were also, for me, they were also very easy. So this actually pushed me into buying a real camera,
Yeah.
what I would consider real, buying a real camera and learning how to operate a real camera, real editing software and stuff like that. So that's actually what pushed me into purchasing my first, I guess you would say, professional camera.
Yeah.
I rode the high of this because Time Magazine, they featured one of my photos, or no, they featured a series of my photos on their Instagram. It brought me bunch of followers. I think I ended up, and at the time, getting 2,000 followers in the space of a couple weeks, two or three
Wow.
thousand followers in the space of a couple weeks. It was amazing. It was such a high and such a like a I don't know. I'm like, oh my gosh, so I have all these new followers. I really need to buy a new camera and learn how to use it so I can keep doing this and not feel like a fraud just using my cell phone. That culminated into me buying a camera, learning how to use it on YouTube. I'm completely self-taught, never went to school for any of this. So I learned the editing software. I learned how to use my camera with the manual settings, with aperture, shutter speeds, ISO. I learned basically how the camera works with light on YouTube. So then I started bringing my camera to work every day. And what I really found, I really am good with taking pictures of mechanical things with the aircraft and with kind of the landscape out at the airport. But what I was really drawn to was taking pictures of my coworkers. I wanted to start presenting the people that I work with, and I found more beauty and more of an interest in taking pictures of the people that I work with. So, And that was hard because in Chicago, they are pretty private people. They don't want some guy running around taking pictures of them at all, really. So it started with my first few good friends, and I was taking these pictures and posting them on Facebook. And I had the foresight in my mind that if I post these, but I kept the posts public, then other people from United would see these pictures and realize, hey, he's a good photographer.
Yeah.
And so that kind of culminated into everybody started wanting me to take pictures of them. Hey, man, hey, Lammdogg, when are you going to take my picture? hey, Lammdogg, when are you going to take my picture? So that was super cool. So that was between, I was still riding the high of this feature in Time magazine between 2013 and 2016. I was getting a name at work. I was becoming, and not just in Chicago, but people were starting to see this in Denver, in Houston, in LA. People were starting to see these portraits that I was doing, the behind the scene portraits for that, or for United.
Mm.
Well, I wasn't even taking pictures for United. I was doing this for myself. But
in the end, they
some,
offer you a permanent
they
photographer
did,
role.
and
Yeah.
so one of the managers reached out to me and said, "Hey, we really, really like your airport pictures. We like the pictures that you're taking of your friends. We have an event coming up that we would like you to photograph." So they asked me to shoot this event, Bring Your Kid to Work Day. So I ended up taking 100 pictures from the event. A lot of them candids, a lot of just showing the kids having a good time with their parents in this airport environment. United, the management team, absolutely loved the pictures that I took and started asking me to take pictures of other events, which culminated into them asking me to be a permanent photographer, taking pictures of events. And at the time, we were the company itself was turning around, and they wanted to focus on the employees. And so that what I was doing just kind of aligned with what United was doing, which was basically we are an employee focused. We focus on the customers, but we are an employee focused airline. And the pictures that I was taking for United was helping people to connect with their jobs, connect with their coworkers, and
Wow.
so that's what it was amazing.
Yeah.
It was really, really amazing, and probably artistically the best time of my life, because I'm this paid artist. I come into work every day with my camera, take pictures of my friends, take pictures of airplanes, take pictures of the behind the scenes beauty for this company, and I just felt like I was on the right path.
What did you learn from documenting the complex? It's a non-stop world on an airport.
I think what I learned most of all is that there is beauty in everything. It incorporated something that I've always felt, but just could never name, is that there is beauty behind everything.
Mm.
So whether it's human connection, when I'm catching these candid photos of my friends working, actually enjoying what they're doing, or the beauty of this mechanical lifestyle of the aircraft themselves. And again, I had this bird's eye view, this that not a lot of people had, and I don't think I realized it when I first started doing this, that I have this view that other people don't have. Like, you don't get to go and see how the airport runs. So I think this is where my storytelling, where I needed to tell the story of
Yeah.
what we were doing. And that was something that really, really, really stuck inside of me. I need to tell the story. I need to tell this story. And I carry that into my art today.
Mm.
So,
yeah, because now you are in Sweden. Actually, you are living in Sweden after retiring a bit earlier. But that was a special thing that brought you all the way over here.
There was a special thing. So in 2012, I met this lovely Swedish woman actually in 2010, I met this lovely Swedish woman on Facebook, and we were just friends. And in 2012, she invited me to come over and take pictures of this beautiful country. So I did, and the happy byproduct of that was I met the love of my life,
Yeah.
and yeah, I did, and I don't think either one of us knew that's what was happening. We were just really good friends, and then when we met, I mean, I was taking pictures of the country, but I was absolutely falling in love with this woman. So
Mhm.
when I got home from that trip, we realized what had happened, the extent of what had just happened, that we had fallen in love with each other, and had no idea how we were going to make this work, because Sweden and Chicago were basically 5,000 miles away from each other. So how could we do this?
Yeah.
But I worked for the airline, so I'd fly for free. So we made it work and did a long distance relationship for the next 10 years. I would fly, I would take as much time as I could off from work, and I would fly here to Sweden and go back and forth probably between 4 and 6 times a year for the next 10 years. It was very difficult.
It's
Uh,
such a beautiful love story.
as,
I'm a romantic person.
and yeah, and so
I just love this.
I'm absolutely, I'm an
Yeah.
artist, so I'm also a romantic at heart,
Yeah.
yeah. So when I look from the outside, it is a beautiful love story,
It
and
is.
so
It is.
yeah,
And I met her. She's a sweetheart. So I'm so happy you
yeah,
are you are together.
yeah.
Uh,
It's a good.
yeah. Yeah. How has your creative vision changed since you came here?
My creative vision. Okay, so well, do you want to know how I ended up moving here? How I left United, or do you?
More like if we are thinking about the photography, like the creative, because now you're not
Mm.
on United Airlines anymore, so it's changed.
Mm. So basically, what ended up happening with United was COVID. COVID happened. At the end of COVID, they wanted to kind of cut as many employees as they could, so they offered me an early retirement package, and I realized that I needed to take this package because we couldn't. I didn't want to do more of this long distance relationship with my lady. I needed to come here. So I took the package and ended up moving here to Sweden. And here is where my art, my photography really transformed, because I had always been afraid of learning flash photography, off camera flash, and taking portraits. That's where my heart is taking pictures of people. I'm good at landscape photography. I'm good at architectural photography, I think. But where my real passion, where my real heart lies, would be taking pictures of people. So I started learning flash photography, off camera flash, and that changed everything again in my art. And I mean, there is something, because I'd always been afraid of off-camera flash and stuff like that. But then I did the exact same thing as when I learned how to use Photoshop, Lightroom, my camera. I went to YouTube, and I also have some good mentors here in Sweden who are into flash photography, and they taught me, and I picked it up really quick. And now this is the furthering of my photographic journey, would be with flash.
Yeah, today, yeah, because today you have another kind of photography, as you're saying. You're not on an airport. So, what kind of photography do you today?
Yeah, portrait photography. Portrait photography is where my passions are. I also still do. I actually ended up a company a company in Småland reached out and asked me to take pictures of an event that they were doing last week, and so that was my first corporate event here in Sweden. Um,
Congratulations.
so thank you. It was, but the thing is, and I hadn't taken a corporate event. I hadn't taken photos of a corporate event since I left United, and I left United in 2022. But it was just it. I felt like I was at home. So I think this is the path that I want to continue on, is taking portraits in my own personal art. I want to continue taking portraits with flash, with models and stuff like that. But I need to continue to tell the story, whether it's for corporations, helping corporations with their social media. I have to tell the story. I have to tell the story of, and whoever wants me. If there's any Swedish corporations out there that are listening, and you want me to take pictures of your events, I will gladly do that, because there's beauty and there's magic in taking pictures of group settings and people who are coworkers that know each other, and there is something magic in that, and I think I really do have a gift for telling that story, and yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's where my art has really transformed with flash photography, and I need to continue to tell the story.
But what are you looking for when you lift the camera? Is
Mm,
it like you want to capture the moment, of course, but the light and
yeah,
a feeling?
it's
What do you focus? Is it all of it, or tell us a little bit
so I
what
think
you see through the lens?
definitely the lighting. Lighting is everything, and first and foremost in even in group situations and corporate events and stuff like that, or just I look for good lighting, and I know my camera settings well enough where even if it's bad lighting, I can still adjust to where it makes it look good. What I really look for when I lift my camera is catching that moment that it's so fleeting, and it happens so fast. I just keep my eye open, and I've started to develop in the time that I've been doing this. I've an intuitive. I know when a moment's going to happen, and I can't explain how I know that it's going to happen, but I know it's coming.
Yeah.
So I just keep my finger on the shutter, and I know when to snap, because I pay attention to what's being said while I'm looking through the lens. I pay attention to how the flow of the conversation is going with these candid shots, and I know when there's going to be a laughter or a smile or a certain look. Of course, I'm surprised sometimes that I've caught something, but things happen in such in things happen so quickly that I don't know, I intuitively know that things are coming, and I hit my button. I'm able to catch the connectivity between people with my camera, and for me, that's where the true beauty is. That's where the true art is when people are acting naturally, and I catch that moment in time where you can actually feel the connectivity between people, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfectly do.
Yeah.
Do you think
Hmm.
about the viewer's emotions when you are taking a photo, and how do you go from translating the feeling you want to express in the final image?
Do I think about the viewer who's going to be looking at the photos?
Yeah, the
Or
emotions.
no, no, because I kind of do. When I'm capturing these moments, I know that they're going to. I've done this long enough. I know that they're going to translate into something that you can actually feel when you see the images. People people have always told me that I had the ability for capturing the moment, for capturing the emotion behind
Mm.
what I'm taking pictures of. So I don't really I don't really have that thought center in my head of what's the viewer going to see when I present these photos, so much as I just need to capture it and let that energy land where it's going to land.
Mm.
And yeah, did I answer your question? I don't know.
Yes, 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 it
Yeah,
did. But how do you keep your creativity alive when photography is both work and a passion? Do you have
I think.
moments where you feel like, oh, I want to quit this.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, absolutely. In it, just like in life, everything ebbs and flows. Whether it's relationships, whether it's what's happening in my life right now. There's good times, there's bad times. There are times where I do feel stagnant in my art. I feel like I'm frozen. Sometimes I don't feel like creating. I think my art or photography, it started out as a healing tool, and it continues to heal, even if things aren't completely terrible.
mm,
Um, I use it as a catalyst for changing the way that I feel inside, and healing myself. If that makes any sense.
yeah,
I think,
and
yeah,
that what does photography give you that you can't find somewhere else in life?
I would say the purest expression of love is through art, whether it's creating music, whether it's writing, whether it's photography, whether it's painting. I think the purest expression of love. Dance is a prime example
Yeah,
of that love that I'm talking about. When you're feeling lack in your life, when you're feeling or when you are feeling completely abundant and whatever, I think it is in that creating that you're expanding the love inside of you, and you're expanding the love around you. And so for me, that's where the magic is, in the creation, in that flow of love, and that's what makes me want to keep going.
so
Hmm?
what advice would you give to someone holding their first camera today?
Holding their first camera, to take pictures of everything, play. Do not be afraid to experiment. I would say it goes back to what I was just talking about with love. When you are learning something that you feel passionate about, there's something magic there. Do not be afraid to experiment, to play. Always keep taking pictures. Always, and regardless, if you want to share this with the world, regardless of how other people are going to react to it, post it. Don't have
Yeah,
any fear, which is easier said than done. But putting yourself out there is a very, very scary thing.
it is, and
But
it
the
goes
people,
back also to your own journey, I believe. And like, if you go back and look at the work you did in the beginning, and then you can see yourself grow, and
yeah,
yeah, the
absolutely,
beauty in that.
yeah, yeah, definitely. And oh God, it's terrible when I go back through my through my Instagram. The first pictures I was taking in 2011 compared to now, yeah, it's hard. But you know what? I wouldn't change any of this, and I wouldn't change how I took those pictures back then or what I experienced back then, because that's what I needed. That's what I needed for this journey, for this photographic
And
journey.
I believe
So,
that's the beauty of being a human, also, that we
mm,
constantly grow, we evolve, and we,
yes. Yeah, absolutely. We can't stay the same. We constantly grow, whether it's in our art, whether it's in our relationships, whether it's in, I mean, it is, everything is, everything is cyclical, but everything is open for change. And you're going to be miserable if you just sit in the same day-to-day rut that you're in. So this, for me, the camera helped me break free of that day-to-day
yeah.
grind. I want to keep
But
doing this.
what's your thinking? Have you ever developed your photos like in the old traditional romantic way, where you were standing in a dark room with the different
No, and this
grids?
is
Actually, I
no, and
have. I used
have
to
you
do that.
really?
Yeah, that's a romantic. It's like, you're
Yeah,
standing in the dark room with a red light, and you see the object, the person or
you see how it's
whatever you have,
developed.
and it
Yeah.
starts to just come up to the
Now this
surface
is
on the photo. It's such a
absolutely, and
special
so
feeling.
when I think of film photography, for me, this is the truest art, in terms of photography. being in the darkroom, and it's something that I've only experienced. I experienced it. We had a photo class when I was, I don't know, 12, and I experienced that darkroom feeling one time in my life when I was 12, and then when I picked up the camera, it was all digital, and I never got to experience that kind of magic being in the darkroom. My darkroom was Adobe Photoshop and Lightroom and Snapseed. So I never did get to really experience that.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Maybe someday when I get past my fear of my fear of learning, because I think that's one of the things that's hindered my art, but also helped me push beyond the boundaries of what I thought I could do, was my fear. So when it came to learning how to use the camera, there was a lot of fear around that I would fail.
Mm.
When it came to, I went from being a natural light photographer to an off-camera flash photographer, and that was a huge leap for me. But I kept for years. I avoided off-camera flash. I was afraid of failing,
Mm.
and so I think that could be the next evolution in my photographic journey, is going from digital to film, and learning how to develop. And with film, you don't have the ability to see what you're capturing. I mean, there's so many different aspects to taking pictures with film. You have that. You develop the pictures in an actual Lightroom. Maybe someday I will jump past my fear and get into that. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to see it, and I hope
Mm-hmm.
I will see it. Well,
Yeah, me
it's
too.
been a lovely almost hour with you, and
Thank
I'm
you.
so happy you wanted to join me.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. And I'm glad that you asked, and I'm honored that you asked, that my work is still relevant enough for people to find interest in the story behind it.
definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
As I say, behind every passion, there's a story. And there's a beauty to it. And I'm so happy you wanted to share your story with us today. And we can see your beautiful photos on Insta and on Facebook. So the
Yep. I
listeners have a
have a Facebook
chance to see it.
page. So Lammdogg, Lammdogg. If you guys Google that, actually, you can still see my Time Magazine feature if you Google that, or it'll show my Facebook, Instagram, and possibly even my TikTok, but that's not really my photographic place. So thank you so much for this interview. I'm completely honored that you
Yeah.
wanted me to do this.
Thank you. Yeah, it was an honor to have you on. And I'm looking forward to have more conversations in the future about your photography.
I would absolutely do this again in a heartbeat, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what you create with your Second Cup Stories, the podcast. There is art in everything we do, and you are creating. You are creating with this.
Oh,
You're
thank
telling
you.
the story like me.
Yeah, it's storytelling. And for me to be able to create a platform for all the beautiful artists that is out there in the world and give them a voice. And it's a pleasure.
Yeah. Keep
So,
doing what you're doing. This is
mm,
important.
thank you.
All right. Thank you,
Okay, thank
Malin.
you for today. And I say goodbye and see you again.
Vi ses snart.